Hello and good evening. It is Thursday evening, so y'all know what that means. It is Walk With Me Thursday. And sorry, you guys, I'm just trying to get my little screen adjusted. So happy Thursday. We made it through another week. Tomorrow is Friday, and it's going to be the weekend. I know that this week has been such an interesting week. And so as I was preparing for tonight, sorry, you guys might can see my shirt like kind of looking crazy, but don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. We're just chatting. But as it's been a very interesting week, I had been praying to God, like, okay, God, what do you want to talk about this week? Right? What do you want to do this week? And so nothing really came to me, right? And I am preparing. I am preaching. My bishop assigned me to preach this coming Sunday. So I will be preaching on Sunday. So I'm preparing for that word. But also, our time together is just as important, right? And so I wanted to be able to sit down, and I was talking to God and I was praying. And God has really been waking me up like every night that I've been up around like 2 or 3 in the morning every night. And I'm just not able to go back to sleep. So I just am like, okay, if we're up, let's go. What we doing? Like, what we studying? What we talking about? What we praying about? What's on your heart? Talk to me. And so I just felt God being like, change your position. Like, change your position. I think a couple weeks on here, I got on and we were talking, and I was telling you all about how, God has just been saying to me, got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like how you think it is supposed to go, how you think it is supposed to be, you have to let it go, and you have to become comfortable with wherever I have for you, whatever I'm going to do for you and in you and through you. And so I kind of wanted to just come and talk to you guys. So as y'all see, I'm actually in my living room, or actually in my dining room today, because I just felt God like, change your position, change what you're doing, right? Change, like, I have a natural tendency, right? If you go and study, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, it's not Myers-Briggs, but whatever it is, it's like, are you a choleric? Are you a melancholy? Are you a sanguine? Are you like, and it kind of like helps you kind of understand who you are. Well, what I realize is that I'm two types of people. I'm sort of a sanguine and a melancholy, right? When I'm up and outgoing, I am up and outgoing, and I can be the most personable conversationalist, but I also have a very huge tendency to be melancholy, right? I have a very huge tendency to sort of just listen. It don't take nothing for me to come home from work, go get in my bed, and I'm in my bed the rest of the day until it's time for me to get back out of my bed tomorrow. But today I was talking to God, and I was like, I want to go and I want to sit in the sun, right? Sometimes I like sitting outside. I'm not doing anything, right? I know a lot of people call it grounding. They call it all these different things. Regardless of whatever you call it, God created the sun. And when we sit in the sun, there's something about it that brings life, right? It just brings a peaceful feeling, right? Versus if you're in a dark room and the blinds are closed, right? You know what I mean? And I got blackout curtains. So y'all know, because sis need to sleep. I'm a nurse. Nurses know how to go to sleep, okay? We know how to make a room ready for sleep. I'm just saying. So anyway, I decided, I was like, I want to sit out in my living room. I want to sit in the sun today. And so, every night I've just been up and I've been praying about the just different things that have been on my heart. So I wanted to get on here and talk to you a little bit about some of those things that God has been talking to me about. We are facing just very different times. And I think it's very easy for us to become discouraged. I think it's very easy for us to like shrivel up and just sort of like, we go into survival mode, right? The more chaotic the world gets, the more we like hunker down and we become very focused on what we actually have, right? We kind of like, we just like, hey, listen, I'm going to save what I have. We're going to preservation mode. And so I could feel myself doing it. And throughout the week, which was funny, was that God do different things in different ways, was telling me, Adrian, you keep quitting before you get to the end. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what happened to me this week. So I was watching Instagram scroll, right? I'm trying to minimize my TV time and my screen time. But, I have a certain amount of time that I'm like, okay, I'll get on and I'll do an Instagram scroll. So I'm doing an Instagram scroll, but now I'm conscientious of time because I put myself on I'm not going to waste hours on TikTok, or I'm not even going to have TikTok, but Instagram Reels, whatever. And so I started watching this video of this man who was fishing. And he was fighting for the fish, and his rod broke, but he was still fighting for the fish because the fish was still on the hook, but it was getting harder and harder. You could see his rod had broken, and it was but he wouldn't give up. And so as I was watching the video, I was watching it, and eventually I got to the point where I was like, I just want to know the end. Is he going to catch the fish, or is the fish going to get away? Right. And so I ended up scrolling to get to the end. Well, in the scroll, it was like I was already almost at the end, you guys. I had already done all the time sitting there waiting, watching this man go through this entire process. And I sped it up right at the exact moment when the answer was given. I know, if you ain't catch it, right? We get all the way to the end. We have waited patiently. We have prayed. We have, sought after God. We have done the work. And then right when where you actually get the moment when the thing happens, the moment when it shifts, the moment when, the circumstances change, we speed past it to get to the end result. And I want to say that to some of you because right now is very, very hard, right? And you are in preservation mode. And so you are no longer thinking or having hope for a future or for a better day. Instead, you've just gone into preservation mode. And I'm here to just spend some time with you and tell you you're almost there. And I don't mean in terms of you're going to get the victory, right? We want to see the end result. We want to see, right? When I fast forwarded, I missed the part where you actually saw the fish come out of the water, right? I missed it because I fast forwarded. And so all I saw was the benefit. He had the fish and everybody was reeling him in and everybody was giving him kudos. But it's not about that part because that's not the part I wanted to see. I just wanted to see, did he win? And I think we want to see that in ourselves. We want to see, do we win? The answer is, ladies and gentlemen, we already won. We already won. Whatever we're going through, whatever we are facing, whatever is happening to us, or God is allowing to happen around us, he's doing it because he has a plan for us. It's already predetermined. And I know people don't want to hear that. People want to be like, well, you have free will. He'll never supersede your free will. People get it very, very confused in terms of they're like, well, then I don't have a choice. God has already dictated who's going to happen and what's going to happen and what you're going to get. That's not what this is. God will never supersede your free will. So you will always have the choice of what will happen. Now, does he have a plan? Absolutely. Will he work all the days of your life to fulfill that plan? Yes. But you're asking, well, God's plan is for everyone to have a future and a hope, right? We quote Jeremiah 29 a lot. Right? It's his will for everyone to have a future and a hope. But what we get sidetracked is that we think that if something bad happens, or if we look and see that something negative happens, then we think that somehow we veered off of God's plan. And that's not really the case. The case is that if we kept going, kept driving, kept moving forward, despite what we were going through, kept the faith. 2 Timothy chapter 1, fan the flames of your faith. Reverend Shantae, she was teaching it in our Bible study last night. And I know the verse. And for whatever reason, I forgot the verse until we were reading it and she brought it up. And I was like, I forgot about that verse. Fan the flames. You have to fan your hope in this season. You have to fan your faith. You have to fan your desire, not your desire, because that's not the word I want to use. You have to fan God, your spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying? so that you can catch fire. I told you all, so that was the first thing that happened. I watched that video, right? And then the video ended. The second thing that happened to me this week, where God was trying to tell me, like, stop trying to rush it and go through the process, is what was I doing at the time? What was I doing at the time? I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but what happened was, so the first thing, I watched that video, right? And I watched the man go for the fish and everything, right? Okay. The second thing that happened was, oh, I know what I was doing. I was watching The Chosen. So me and a couple of my friends right now, like, we're watching The Chosen. We are watching The Chosen because, number one, The Chosen gives you hope, right? I'm not looking at it for anything else. I read my Bible. I eat my book, right? So I don't look to like TV and all of that to teach me the book, right? But I appreciate it because it is helpful to watch it, and it inspires hope. Well, anyway, so we were, me and my friends, we've been watching The Chosen, but we're all at different sections of The Chosen series, right? And so what happened was that I'm like further ahead than someone else, right? And you know how, like, you don't want to give it away, but you want to talk about it, but you don't want to give it away. And so I was like trying to like talk about it without giving it away. And you know, you really can't do both, right? You would just got to say, like, I'm just going to wait patiently until you get there. Or, you know, I'm just going to spoil it for you. Or do you want me to spoil it? And God was telling me, he was like, let them enjoy the journey. We're all at different points in different sections. Different things are happening to all of us, right? In this particular season, some are struggling and some are being blessed, right? Some people are getting married and having the best day of their lives, and some people are grieving, right? The thing about life is that all these things are all happening at the same time. And yet, that's why the Bible teaches us, laugh with those, cry with those who cry, rejoice with those who rejoice, because life is such an ebb and flow, and it goes up and down. But the goal is we are to enjoy the journey together. And so even though I may be further ahead than someone else, they're still on the same path I'm on, right? And so I want them to enjoy the journey. I want them to enjoy what I've already seen God do. And that's something that I think that we don't admonish to each other, right? We don't admonish to each other, like, enjoy your part of the journey where you are. The world has constantly taught us so many times that we are just always supposed to be pushing to the next thing, right? We're missing the point where we actually get the fish and the fish comes out of the water. We're just racing to the other side of, like, oh, I caught the fish and I got the accolades. Okay, now I'm going on to go catch the next thing. But we've got to enjoy the parts that have happened. So I say all that to say, this is what happened. Tonight, with my last like 10 minutes or whatever, I wanted to go back and do what I used to enjoy. One of the things that I used to do way before now, when I was just a little girl, is that I would line up all of my stuffed animals and I would teach my stuffed animals the Bible. I know, y'all, don't laugh at me. It's true. It's just who I am, right? And I would just, like, when I would read the Bible, in like such a way that it was like it played out like a play in my head, and it would play out like, these are my family, right? Like, I'm telling my other family members about my other family members and what happened. So anyway, I have my Bible. It's the Tony Evans Bible, by the way, you guys. This is actually a very, very, very good commentary Bible if you want one. The next other good commentary Bible I will tell you about is Charles Stanley. He made a very good life principle Bible that I still read to this day. It's actually really good. And Joyce Meyer has a really good women's Bible. 3 Bibles if you need a Bible to read. So anyway, I say all that to say that I put in the comment section that you should read some of your favorite chapters. Sometimes I just like to read my favorite chapters because it's like I remember like how I read the story or how it happened, right? And so I want to read to you. I'm going to go to Exodus chapter 33. Now, a lot of people know this chapter. This chapter is specifically about being outside the camp. And so this chapter is super important to me because when I was reading the Bible, hold on, let me backtrack, right? I told y'all today we're chatting like friends who haven't caught up in a while. So I'm doing Bible in a year. Remember, I told you, I said I don't read the Bible like through the year every year, but some years I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to actually read the Bible through like on a plan, so this is my year to read the Bible through on a plan. Well, anyway, I am like a lot of days behind. Okay. So I just want y'all to know. So in case somebody's out there beating themselves up, like I should be reading my Bible more, everything, let me just tell you, I love Jesus and I am behind in my Bible through a year plan. Okay. And the thing of it is that right now my Bible plan, if I was up to date, is actually starting the New Testament, which is actually really exciting. But I still have some of the Old Testament to read. And not that I haven't read it, but I'm going to tell you some of the things that I think are like super important. The Old Testament is beautifully written. But when you get to the prophets, right, I'm going to tell you the lesson. If you don't know, the lesson you're going to read as you read through the prophets is that, one, you're going to read about God's mercy, God's continual, never ending, he loves you mercy. That's number one. Number two, the second thing you want to do is you're going to read about I don't even want to call it stupidity of man, but just that man does not listen. Okay. Chapter after chapter after chapter, all you see is how they just deny God. They refuse God. They reject God. They follow after other gods. You know what I mean? Like it is nothing but just people shouting from the rooftops. Listen, y'all have been out here like acting a fool, okay? Over and over and over again. And then you always hear the prophet say, and judgment is coming, and and we deserve it. And they deserve it. Like you have 40, 50 years of them worshiping other gods, sacrificing the other gods, putting everything before God, denying God, not listening to God, not obeying God. I mean, like 50 plus years and large segments of time. So when people sit up and talk about God is judging and all this, like, do you realize the amount of time of grace that God has given to every single generation over and over and over again, patiently waiting, patiently, like still calling out to them, still calling them and saying, come back to me, turn your heart back to me. Just, you know what I mean? Sit down with me. Let us argue it out like friends so that we can be reconciled. Like when you see God's continual grace among all of the nations, all of like, even to the point when Judah is taken to Babylon, right? In Ezekiel, I think it's Ezekiel, it talks about the fact that like the Spirit of God moves toward Babylon. Like God is like, even when I put you in time out and punish and give you a punishment, I'm still going to be with you. Y'all, if y'all don't love Jesus, I'm just saying, I don't know what book y'all reading, but this book is amazing. So anyway, long story short, I'm behind in my Old Testament, but I have to catch up. So I was like, Lord, I know I need to catch up, but I just felt like I wanted to read one of my favorite chapters. So I'm going to read my favorite chapter with you. All right. It's not my very favorite, but it's one of my favorites. Anyway, it says, the Lord spoke to Moses, go up from here, you and the people you brought up out the land of Egypt to the land that I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your offspring. I will send an angel ahead of you and drive out every last one of your enemies. And he lists all the enemies. Go up to a land that flows with milk and honey, but I will not go up with you because you are a stiff-necked people. Otherwise, I might destroy you on the way. When the people heard this bad news, they mourned and did not put on their jewelry. So I want to stop for a second. I just want to talk about that. We hear the story about the people of Israel often, right? But I really don't think that we really appreciate the provision of God in it. Imagine, a lot of people have been to the UAE, a lot of people have been to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all the different places. And if you actually go to Egypt, Cairo, when you actually think about desert, like real desert, think to yourself, they are in like, imagine, like, it's not like how we see it now, right? When we go to the beach, I'm talking about like desert, Arizona desert, right? Dry land desert. And God provides a cloud over them every single day. So they are never quenched by the heat. Think about that level of provision. Every day you are walking outside in the desert sun and you have provision. Not only does he do that, but every day they wake up, they have food to eat in a desert where there are no, do you know what I'm trying to say? There's nothing there. Like there's no food, there's no vegetation. So God provides. He provides the vegetation not only just for them, but for their livestock, for their children. Like the provision of God in such a dry place. And I just want to say that for the person who is sitting here struggling today, God has provision for you. He has given to you what you actually need, right? He told them every day, take what you need for today. Every day, God will provide for your need. That means it might be oodles and noodles, but are you provided for? Yes. Does that mean that it may be peanut butter and jelly, but are you provided for? Yes. We have to start to reframe what we think, because the world and a lot of religion has just taught us to see God just really as just like this, like, he's more than, slow down, Adrian. He's more than that. He provides for your daily needs. And anything that you have ever faced, God has never left you alone, nor has he ever left you where you were by yourself. Now, he'll let you feel dry. And I'm going to tell you why he does that. And I'm not saying this is all the way, all the time, but God allows you to feel the dry spell because he wants you to want him. David said it best, my soul thirsts for you in a dry and weary place, right? Where there is no water. Like when you feel like empty and you feel as though God is not connected to you, it's because he's trying to actually draw your heart back to him, because you have moved so far away. He's allowing you to see how dry of a place you're in. But here's the thing that God says in this chapter. He says, I'm going to fulfill my promise to you. I am going to take you to the place that you need to go. And we think that, and the world has taught us to think that, like, oh, he's just going to provide a miracle. Oh, he's just going to give me, he's going to meet my needs. God is doing more than that. God is taking care of your eternity, so that your eternity has everything you need. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? He doesn't think the way we think. He's infinite, and he's looking way beyond your current circumstances. And so what he will do is give you what you need for today, knowing that he has a whole future and a plan for you in you know what I mean, moving forward. So anyway, this is what it says. So it says they mourned because God told them they were stiff-necked. Stiff-neck, is such an interesting term, because I think we think about the fact of, like, it means you won't bend down. I don't know about you, but if you carry stress in your neck, if you think about it, sometimes you just bend your neck down, because the bending your neck down releases the stress that you feel in your neck. And God is saying that instead of you bending your head down and casting your burden on me, casting your cares on me, realizing that I am actually still providing for you even right now. You are in the desert. You have a cloud over your head. You have a pillar of fire to keep you warm at night. You get every daily ration that you need. Even though he is providing all of that, you still may not see him in it, because we are just generally that selfish. I'm just saying we are. So even though God is providing, we're still complaining. And we're still looking at our situation in terms of lack. That's not God, right? We may be in a dry and weary place, but yet there's still provision here for us. I'm just saying. The poor you will have with you always. That's what Jesus said. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're all there. The ability for lack is always there, right? So the Bible says, even when you get to the New Testament and you talk about Paul. Paul says that the church that was the most run down, the church that had the least amount of gave the most, because we were never supposed to be tied to the materialism of this world. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So it says that here it says they mourned and didn't put on their jewelry. Your jewelry though? They didn't put on sackcloth. They didn't put on, like, do you know what I'm saying? They just took off their jewelry. They took off their opulence. They took off their wealth. Think about that. We are so blessed that and yet we look at ourselves like we're not, right? We look at ourselves in terms of we want more, we should have had more, we could have done more, we could have obtained more. We really, 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 really need to look at ourselves. I'm just saying. So anyway, let me get to my favorite part of this chapter. So he says, for the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. I went up with you for a single moment. I would destroy you. Now take off your jewelry so that I can decide what to do with you. So the Israelites stripped of their jewelry from Mount Horeb onward. Now, verse 7, here we go. Now Moses took a tent and pitched it outside the camp at a distance from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. Anyone who wanted to consult the Lord would go into the tent of meeting that was outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people would stand up, each one at the door of his tent. When Moses entered, the pillar of cloud would come down and remain at the entrance of the tent, and the Lord would speak to Moses face to face. And it says that as all the people saw the cloud and the pillar, they would then bow down to worship, each one at the door of his tent. I wanted to give you this message of hope tonight. You have a tent of meeting, and it's not a church house. The Bible says that each person bowed down and worshiped God at the front door of their house, of their home. If you have a roof over your head, you have a home. If you have a place that you can rest yourself, even if it is in someone else's house, even if it is on a couch, even if it doesn't matter, even if it is in a tent, a physical tent, then you have a place to meet God. Wherever you are, it says that the pillar of God would come and rest over the tent of meeting. And I remember when I was like really growing in my faith and I read this chapter, I remember telling God, I wanted my house to be a meeting place, a place where when people would come to my house, they could meet God here. And it's funny that most people, when they come to my house, take naps. I didn't pay attention to it until like all of a sudden, everybody was like, girl, I'm coming to your house because I want a nap. I'm like, why do you need come to my house for a nap? You have like a whole house, you know what I mean? And your house is way bigger than mine. You know what I mean? But they would come to my house for a nap. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, because you said it was, you wanted your home to be a meeting place. And what I find is that most people need rest. Most people need rest because you're carrying burdens and you're carrying things that you are not supposed to carry. Cast your care on the Lord. That's not like a random statement, you guys, from God. It is a real statement. Bring whatever it is to God. This week, I had made some plans and, I was very excited about the plans, and I put a lot of effort and time and energy and all the things into the plans that I was making. And all of a sudden, right, I found out that something happened. And so my plans weren't going to go the way I had planned. And I was hurt. I was very, very, very hurt. I was hurt, you guys. But in the process of that, I was hurt. I was hurt, and it involved someone else, right? And so, generally, like when you put a lot of effort into something and, like, let's say you make plans with friends or you make it whatever, and they back out or they don't, you know what I mean? Or like they like kind of like fall through, and you're like, I did all this planning. Do you know what I'm saying? So you inevitably feel hurt. And God just kind of, in his kindness, he just sort of spoke to me, and he was like, why are you walking around so angry and hurt? Why don't you come and talk to me about it? And let's actually get to the real issue of what's going on, right? Because originally I was like super mad. But when I sat down and prayed, God was like, you're not really mad. You're really just hurt. But let's talk about why you're hurt. And I'm hurt because I had an expectation. I was hurt because in my mind, I had made the assumption that I was in a that the situation was in a different place than what it was, right? Kind of like I tell you all the time, don't lie to yourselves. I was lying to myself. And so, but God was like, you need to meet with me. And because I was angry, because in my mind, I'm like everybody, I ain't no different. I was vetting out how I wanted to curse the person out. I was vetting out all the things I want to say. I was ready to go. Listen, I was going to machine gun that thing, okay? But God is faithful. And so he woke me up in the middle of the night and was like, no, like if you don't want to talk to me during the day, then fine, I'll wake you up in the middle of the night and we can talk in the middle of the night. I'm like, okay. And God told me, he was like, you are in the middle of that man with a fishing rod. You were in the middle of that like process, and your rod may be broken and you may feel like you are stretched out to the limit and you don't feel like you have anything else to give, but you have me. I'm holding you together. Keep reeling the rod. Keep working at it. Keep loving. Keep forgiving. Keep planning. Keep going. Just keep going. And I will bring it to pass. And I just want to share that with you. And you know where it happened? In my home, in the place where I meet God. Find the place that you meet God. Find the place where you stop trying to speed through the end and you stop and just spend the time with God. Be like that fishing man with the fishing rod. Keep reeling your rod, even though you're broken. That rod was broken, y'all. I wish I could show y'all the video. The rod was broken, the string, everything, and he still would just keep going. Just keep going. I know if your mind worked like mine, y'all heard Little Nemo and like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Anyway, probably not, just me. Either way, my point is that I wanted to share with you one of my favorite chapters because it just reminds me of God's provision. These people were in a dry desert place and God provided. They were in a lowly place and God was like, listen, take your jewelry off your neck because, right, it keeps you sitting up like this. Take it off. Bend, bow down to me. Release your burden to me, right? Stop trying to put on the image that you got it all together. Stop trying to carry it like you can carry the weight. You can't carry the weight. You can't carry the yoke. Take your jewelry off. Bend your head over. Spend some time with the Lord. Meet with him the same way he met with Moses, and he will meet with you face to face. And not only will he meet with you, remember that he has provided for you in the most driest places of your life. He has provided for you. He has, and he will. Stop worrying about tomorrow and realize he is meeting your need for today. Okay? All right, that's it. I hope you all had a good day. I hope you all have a great weekend. And I hope that you all remember to not fast forward, but to keep on going. All right, have a good one. I'll see you next week. Bye.